to. It's a speaking engagement I committed to like months ago when they planned their 2012 calendar.
This looked like it was okay at that time.
Tuesday it looked good.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, the date change, all those in favor say aye. Aye opposed. Approval of the proposed 213 budget. I'll just turn the meeting over to Mike for a review of the budget, and then we'll take action on it.
Well, everyone does have a copy in front of them, or should have received a copy of it. I'll just tell you a little history of this year's preparation. I did sit down and I went into this year's budget saying I didn't want a surplus. I wanted to, we've in the past, we've always budgeted a surplus, and luckily in the last few years, because we've helped projects and whatnot, we've been able to create a surplus above the surplus that we budgeted. And 2011 was a good example because we ended up with about a $56,000 budget surplus. So I went into this budget saying I'm going to leave the levy where it's at, certainly the operating levy. Last year was 470, and I left it at 470. As it is, the debt service levy goes down to $181,000. So that was my starting point. I wanted to just, this is the minimum that I needed to have. And from there, I did my revenue first, and then I flipped over and did my expenditure budget. And when I got to the bottom line, it was $1 difference. So I thought, well, I'm going to just change something $1 so I have a balanced budget. So it's a balanced budget when you look at the bottom line. In reality, there is a $16,000 surplus in the general operation, but there's a $16,000 deficit in the debt service. And where that deficit is covered is the fact that a lot of people prepay their special assessments. So we have the funds setting in their accounts, in that account, to make the payments. I mean, I've done a spreadsheet of where all the levies are and where we're going to go in the next few years so that we're not going to have a real big deficit somewhere along the line and have to cover some expenditures in the future. But so the money's there. We're just using money that's on hand. So that's where I started. The state of Minnesota decided that last year that they're not going to be messing with the LGA, so they were nice enough to say your 2011 and 2012 and 2013 levy or LGA is going to be the same as the 2010. So in reality, we're going to be operating the city for 4 years with the same state assistance. So that's 647. That's a given. The only way that would be adjusted is if the state sees a really major issues, because they've been pretty solid the last few years saying this is the number we're going to give you, and that's what they've been saying. Unlike years in the past where they made promises of paying us a larger amount and then they would make adjustments to it. They kind of decided enough of that and they set a number, and that's what they're going to hopefully stick with. So that's where we're at with that. It was real easy for me to come up with that one because they give me a certification of that number. The rest of them, this is the budget. The budget is an estimate of what you think you're going to receive or what you think you're going to expend. A lot of the numbers are pretty easily documented, and I just know that our license fees are going to stay relative the same. We have not adjusted them. Our miscellaneous revenues usually stay about the same. The lieu of taxes, which is a big number there, $58,000. That's an established number that Rick and I have kind of agreed on, so that's going to stay the same in the future. The police aid, that's a state-funded item. You got to look at the historical data. Say $19,000, a pretty easy number to pick, being it's been $19,800, $19,900. So the $19,000 is a pretty easy number to grab up and put in there. Same with the fire aid. We were told a couple of years ago that the fire aid was doing these ups and downs, and they've kind of stated that the number that we 2010 is going to be about the norm for the next few years, and it hopefully will not change the formula for that. The fire calls, I did increase that a little bit. That's based on what they got in 2011, where we're at in 2012. Obviously, I didn't go back and look at the 2010. That was an odd year. We only had $630 to $200 worth of fire calls or collections. I should correct that. Say that was collections. Since the city's taken over their collections, we're seeing a real big turnover on collecting everything on a timely basis. So again, that number, if the runs go down and that number is overly stated, then their expenses will go down with it. So it kind of offsets itself. So that's how my thinking on coming up with revenues. So then we go over to the expenditures, and we'll be talking about the council and the mayor stuff here. I did calculate this budget using some thoughts that we might be reviewing the mayor and council wages and increasing them a little bit. So that's where, what I didn't include is any special meetings. We haven't seen a special meeting for years. I've always included a little more for special meetings. That means that we have some issue and we have to meet again. We haven't been doing that. You can see that when you look at the actuals against the approved budget. We're just not seeing an extra meeting. So even if we had an extra meeting, we could say, well, we didn't use all the money in the past, so it's not like it's going to affect our budget real major. Wages, that's all based on the PRA. The COLA that we just approved a month ago. And the administration, you'll see the employee benefits went down, and I did notice that and note that in my memo. At the first, here in December, I'll be turning 60, and I will be going under a supplement program through the military, so my deductible no longer has to be paid by the city. And the rest of it's just kind of you can see the bottom line stays about the same. Not a lot of major increase. I should point out though that our health insurance did go up 15%. I factored this 15% in there, and I'm not sitting here right now saying, let's get the employees to pay some more. I'll leave that kind of for further discussion later, before the end of the year. Traditionally, when we have that large of an increase, we go to the employees. Because it doesn't have a major effect on me in the near future, I thought that I'd let the council kind of steer me in which direction they would like to go. I didn't want the employees to say, well, you made a decision that's not going to affect you, but it'll affect us. Again, going down here, the police wages are showing some COLA and step raises that we're anticipating. The legal fees could have went up a little more than they did, but I didn't raise them. I just kind of left this again here because you can look back and see again what we've approved and what they've spent has always been a little bit less. So I just feel that if there's a real issue out there, we've got funds in our undesignated fund balances to handle any of these additional expenses that might creep up that are not in the budget. So that's the way it kind of goes through the budget. The one major change that I did make, and I don't know if you call it major changes, the fire department, their capital outlay has always been reflected in the general fund as a line item. Actually, what I've done this year is said, let's move it over, because that's kind of what I've done already. Move it in at 402. 402 is our capital equipment fund, where we transfer money from our general fund over to a separate fund and account for all the major assets we purchase, equipment and whatnot. And with the 800 megahertz and some of the other things, the sirens and whatnot that's come out of the fire department's fund, we took it out of 402. So I'm going to move it all that capital out stickly, and even the fire department's in the 402. So if they're not buying equipment, I can prove to them that they're building up some funds. Just kind of an accounting thing. It doesn't change what I thought they might spend in a year's time. So I just walked my way through it. No major changes. No, I don't foresee any major issues. Again, I want to just reiterate that there might might be things that will happen in 2013 that I do not have in this budget. There's things that happened in 2012 that you don't budget for. But it's that surplus that you have from prior years that you're using to pay for these items. And the reason I bring that up is because the library is scheduled to get their new carpet in a couple more weeks. That was not budgeted. That was not a separate line item to say I'm expecting to spend X number of dollars on carpet this year. But, you know, I've got budgeted items in the library that will cover that. We just have to take it out of it. So when you finally get to this back part where I do have the capital outlay, and we're all the way up to page 12 now, the one thing that I've added to that, or continue to add there, is, again, I put back in there $5,000 for street replacement, $15,000 for street repairs. That again goes back to the seal coating, patching or not, and that was traditionally reflected back in the government capital account. And I'm moving it here, so now it's easier to account for it. If we're not spending the money, it's there already. Remember last year, earlier this year, we transferred $100,000 into that account to pay for some street improvements that we did this year. So I'm going to just run everything that deals with capital outlay, whether it's equipment or major repairs to our streets with this fund, so it's easy to account for. And I actually keep a record that I can tell you exactly how much money is in each one of these different classifications from prior years, funds that were put into there, and how much we spent. So that's part of my little accounting thing. I continue to put $5,000 a year into the roof replacement, and I just keep praying that 20 years from now we'll have enough money in there, or maybe it'll be just a few more years from now that we're going to have to redo something with this roof. So far it's held up pretty good for the 20 years, but I know that we're going to have to do something, and I'm not budgeting a major amount to do it. When the day comes that we have to do it, if there isn't enough fund in this fund, we'll just have to find other alternative ways to finance it. And the police, we continue to show $5,000 for equipment and whatnot, upgrade, and then I put $10,000 a year for squad. Usually the money is there for buying squads because of this system that I'm using to build that up. So in the library, again, like I said, the library, I just put $2,000 in it. That doesn't account for carpet, but carpet has to be done, and I find alternate routes or alternate places to find the funds to take care of any kind of issues. And then the fire department I moved over here, we can account for theirs. So when you come down to the next page, you can see that the operation budget has a $16,211 surplus. Right there in the middle of the page is the debt service. From the revenues, I separate out all the revenues that go to satisfy debt, and here's showing what the debt's going to be, $327,000. So we have a loss of $16,211, or a deficit. So net effect is zero. When you look at the history of our debt, I just point this out because I had this discussion at the public utilities today. If you look at the history of debt, you can see that there's a period of time that has kind of grown a little bit. And all that growth has been the growth of our community. When we did the southwest retention pond and put that trunk line in there so we could develop the twin home areas, that added $50,000 to our debt level. When we decided, when the community decided, the council decided that we needed to upgrade and put in more industrial park facilities, that, again, originally thought we were going to get paid by grant, but that project cost us $50,000 in debt service. Now we did the 3rd Street project, DFA loan deal. You'll notice there's $123,000 worth of debt service here. However, the levy is only like $66,000, and a portion of that's being paid by the sanitary sewer, a portion was being paid by the water fund. So all the debt that you're seeing here that we're being serviced is all improvements to our community. That's what needed to be done to make our town grow. But that's the bottom line, is zero. people should see a very small decrease in the taxes based on the city portion. The way that our tax capacity is set up is just about if you take $100,000 home and we raise our taxes $5,000, it affects that $100,000 home $5. So when we lowered $5,700, it only lowers your taxes about $5 based on $100,000 home. So if people are going to be dancing in the streets because we lowered your taxes, no, it's not a material amount, but yet it's not going the other way. In reality, it hasn't went that way now for a couple of years. We've been lowering our taxes the last year, 45,000, too. So, that's something that you as a council have to be happy that we're able to provide the services to the community without increasing taxes. So that is my presentation. If there's any questions, it's probably best that you just come to the office and discuss. All right, so everyone wants you to look at it. You know, I've asked for some insights if you have any. If you still have some, like I said, there's a lot of surplus that we built up in the last few years. So there's funds available to do any special projects that we might have.
So the point of order would be that this budget, but approved by us, we can't go higher than this.
That's when we get to the levy. When we get to the levy,
When we get to the levy,
you approve your levy, that's the max you can levy. The budget, we can change that all through the year. You can come back and say, I want to do something different, and let's move something from here and there, and we can modify the budget at any time. However, the dollar amount that we're saying we're going to the taxpayer after tonight, we can't raise it, lower it in December. That'll be when we get to certified.
let's get this budget on the table, and if there's any discussion.
I move we approve the budget as proposed.
Thanks, Bill.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Council comments?
I think we're doing a good job. I think Mike is doing a fine job. I don't see anything that we have to change on now.
No, as usual, very fine job. Thank you, Mike.
I understand.
And the best part is that we can continue to make improvements.
We're striving forward because we set through this period of time of limbo in the state, not knowing what they were going to do to us, and really holding back. And in that process of holding back, we were holding back funds that maybe we should have looked at spending even at that time frame. But we were so afraid at that time, what was the state going to do? So they can completely knock the chair out from under you, or were you still going to have some room? And we've had some room over that area. And now I'm at that point, we've seen that in 2012. We did a major patching, we did the seal coating, we bought radios, we bought sirens. We finally said, hey, we can't sit back and wait to see what the state's going to do. Here's what we have available. Let's start doing something that we're not worried about the state. And I think the state's finally gotten. It's not their act; it's the economy. The economy's coming around there from the state. And what they're doing.
Yeah, but they've given us some assurances of our LGA. However, they're still looking at a $6 billion deficit for the next biennium. And I don't know where they're going to get it, because they already took it out of the schools. So I don't know where they're going to get it. So we still need to kind of watch our P's and Q's, because the chair could still get kicked out from under you. So we still need to continue to be prudent with our budget. This certainly is. Thank you, Mike. All those in favor of the motion to approve the budget signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Budget is passed. We also need to approve the proposed enterprise funds budget.
The enterprise budget is strictly a guard board. We don't know, an enterprise fund is the one that's can have some major repairs, unbeknown. You can't look to the say what's gonna break in the wastewater treatment plant. So even though I put a very large number in there, of $24,000 worth of repairs, you still don't know. It can come down, you can see right here, 2011, it was $23,000. The year before it was $23,009. So that might be a big number, but that's what it takes to continue to operate. I did increase their testing. I think we're gonna see some more testing that we're gonna have to do. State of Minnesota and PCA is asking for more things than they did a few years ago, and of course testing costs are going up. I'd like to be able to lower the utilities, and I did a little bit, but that all goes by what the temperature happens here in 2 more months, because we put heaters on the decanters now, so the guys don't have to climb out there and beat on them with a hammer to keep the ice off. And then the engineering I've increased this year from 2,510, because I'm anticipating that we're going to be looking at some phosphorus issues and some other issues that we got coming up. So I did lower, and I continue to lower revenues for sewer. Our sewer revenues are tied with the water consumption, and we're seeing in the water department a reduction. So I've had to lower it, and I don't know where we're going to go with that. You got to understand though that our sewer rates have not been increased since the plant was built. So there's a good chance that someday in the near future we're going to have to readdress our rates. We're working with Arkema right now to do some things that maybe we can take some release off the plant. If we can do that, I think the life cycle of that plant will continue as it is, but to do a major overhaul of our plant would cost us millions of dollars. So we're going to try to work with Arkema to kind of see if we can extend its life. And again, I know that the water fund is looking at maybe someday in the future some rate increases, and we might have to too, because it's a two-edged sword here. We ask people to conserve, but our cost still stays the same, so as our revenue goes down, if our cost stays the same, we're going to have to find avenues to create that revenue, which is usually great increases. Luckily, the building's paid, the plant's paid for, so we're able to absorb these reductions and continue to operate without any major issues. Because, the plant for years, and for the little history, it operated in either a deficit or barely break even, so we do have some breathing room there. The ambulance budget, again, that one's just one I throw. If the revenue goes down, the expenditures go down. I'm using the revenue based on what I've seen in the last couple of years. And it's actually, in a way, you could argue that it's understated, but I don't think the expenses are understated, so I don't see any major items on that. The storm sewer, that's pretty standardized. We originally set that up, and we've been charging the same amount for the storm sewer. 15 years here, there could always be some discussion. If we raise that, we could incorporate some street improvements that could be paid through here. That's what some cities are doing now. At this point, I'm gonna let that ride. We're doing some storm sewer repairs. You might see that the guys have been doing some catch basins. There's one on Main Street, and I see they've got one going on right now. And then we have the cemetery fund. That's like a non-revenue generating fund. However, there is expenses that relate to maintaining the cemetery, and so we do have a repair bill there. And the philosophy of the first few years that we were going out there and doing some repairs at the cemetery, we were going stone by stone. Well, now talking to the gentleman that is doing repairs, he said, let's do area. Because we've really corrected a lot of the real major stone effects, the ones that were down and leaning, the bases were expenditures, I'm, well, whatever it is, I mean, enterprise fund, that's what I've got.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed 2013 property tax levy and certified, oh, I'm sorry. Yep, I want to do the enterprise fund, I'm sorry.
You know what you mean.
Yeah. Motion to approve the 2013 proposed enterprise budget for the sewer fund, cemetery fund, and the stormwater utility fund.
Moved and seconded to approve the enterprise fund budgets. Any council comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is done. You're on the roll, Mary.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, did you already do that one?
The next item of business will be to certify the proposed levy, as it has already been stated, that we cannot go higher than this after we approve it. We can go lower. If after our meeting with the citizens, we decide that we're excessive and they're correct, we can lower our levy, depending on how we feel about it. So at this time, we would need to approve that levy.
I move we approve the proposed 2013 property tax levy and certify the proposed levy to the county auditors.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the levy. Any comments or questions?
You know, you'll notice that the only thing that's decreasing is the PFA loan, and that's just on a schedule, and that's a really low interest loan, and principal will vary, but at this point, I still don't know. We might, you know, if it was based on a $2,200,000 and some loan, we're done with the dirt work, the DCM, but there'll be some engineering fees, so hopefully we'll still have a little room in that budget that we won't borrow all the money, so that we won't have to pay back. It won't be a pretty material amount, I think, when we go through it.
Can you vote on that? I already did. We did. All those in favor of the motion to certify the levy proposed, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's passed. Public gets to talk about it if they want to, and so we need to set a date for the public comment. And it's a suggested date there of
Our regular council meeting is
December
and it's a
10th.
regular council meeting, and not a separate date.
Works for me.
I move we approve the resolution on the regular, regularly scheduled December 10th, 2012 council meeting at 7 p.m. The council will meet to discuss the final 2013 budget and taxes.
Moved and seconded to have a public comment on December 10th. Any other comments on that? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Good. There is an election coming up, and it is part of our duty and obligation to review the vote and to canvass the votes. It is suggested that we do that on November 13th at 6:45 prior to our regular meeting.
Make a motion, setting the date for canvassing the votes to be held November 13th, 2012, 6:45 p.m.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. That date work for people?
Again, I'm asking to be excused, I probably won't do it.
Will be okay. Okay, all those in favor of that motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That's passed. After being at 6:45. Item number 7 would be a review of the mayor and council wages. This was brought councils get around here.
I didn't actually just go for this area, I just went for, actually, most of these examples are cities less than our size of the Prairie. And there was 8 of them that I got the information from, and it averaged from $125 to a maximum to $400 for mayor. And so when I take the 8 cities divided by the average, it ends up being $241. Now, the difference though over what we do currently is that the higher ones, the $300 a month one, the $400 a month, and then the $300 and then the $250, they all have it saying that that's a monthly fee. So if we have an extra meeting, let's say that we have something come up and we had to hold a special meeting, you get paid, the mayor gets paid $400 or $300 or $250 to be the mayor for the month, and it doesn't matter whether we have to hold a continuation meeting for our board review, that's what he gets paid. The same happens with the council. That's your monthly fee. Extra meeting, you don't get paid anymore. Currently, the mayor's getting paid $200 a month, and then if we have an extra meeting, he gets paid $125. So that would be a change, or a concept change. Right? When I went over to the council and did the same number of cities, it ranged from $75 up to $350 per council. So the average in that scenario was actually 172. And what I'm looking at or proposing is raising it from the 125 to 150. And actually, I said in the memo that we set a special meeting for the mayor and council at 150. However, like I said, these larger ones, I mean, there's even one city that pays their council $350 a month. The council members get no extras for extra meetings. So it gave me the this kind of a guidance on whether or not I've come up with an unreasonable number. Again, like the mayor said, I based it on where we got paid, what they were getting paid in 2005, took the COLA raises that you would have gotten if you had the same COLA raises every year as the city employees. And I think at that time that the mayor wages would be $254, something like that, and the council would be like $150 some. So it's pretty reasonable. Came in right where surprisingly the council would have been 162, and the mayor would have been 259. So based on that, that's where I came up with the 250 for the mayor and the 150 for the council. So using this data, the COLA data, that's where I came up with these numbers. Of course, these are numbers that I've came up with. It's up to you guys to make a decision if that's a reasonable number, or do you want to do anything with it at all, change our current deal with it?
That's not tied to attending the annual government meeting.
And we've had that discussion, that they're getting paid that fee a month, not whether they're at a meeting. It isn't per meeting, it's per month.
And plus 150 for a special meeting, right? If
There was one. I don't know, the 12 years I've been here, whether we've had these special meetings. We usually try to make them half an hour before our regular meeting, so we don't have to spend the special.
Well, if we have it, then just a handful.
Yeah, just not everybody even shows up, I think.
But I think Mike has mentioned that it needs to be acted on before the election. So
So we can
something,
vote out.
if it's something you want, then I will have that ordinance here at the next meeting.
And it is required ordinance. It's a motion that has to be done by ordinance. So, what does the council think that is?
Having that wage for a special meeting, he has an incentive to not have special meetings.
And I think that's what we've done, is try their darndest not to have them because of cost.
Yeah, because of cost. I mean, we really have to have something pretty important before we're going to call a special meeting, and we haven't.
Well, our
I don't
current,
believe I've
that's where you might have it if somebody wants the planning and zoning issue resolved very quickly, and that's usually how they want that done. That we would have to have a special meeting to do the planning and zoning. And I think I do have that in the fee schedule, that we have a special meeting called for planning and zoning, that the person will have to pay that fee.
I think you're right. I don't think we've used that.
We've got people that thought that the meetings were pretty important, and we recall them.
Right.
And we have to look at this as, it's like, it's not a per meeting thing, it is our salary, your salary. You get this much money to be on the council, and you do your council work throughout the year for this. And you're on the council all the time. You're never not on the council. I mean, people can call you at any time, you have ideas at any time. It isn't like that you just come to the meeting and you get paid to just come to the meeting. This is a salary, and it isn't much. It's really very minimal. And to do this amount, it makes it, I think, more worth your time to do the job that you have to do. So I'm encouraging you to say yes to this concept. And this is a discussion, and the only action we would take tonight would be to ask Frank to put the ordinance together. We wouldn't be actually acting on the increase itself tonight. We would only be asking him to put together the ordinance. This gives you one more month to give it some more consideration, ask people what they feel about it. It'll probably come out in the paper.
And if there's a group of fish work here in October, then you might not do something right.
Whoever's doing the paper thing mentioned that the budget is going to be reduced this year.
And maybe in the future, maybe it should be done like with the COLA increases. I mean, now it seems like, oh my gosh, it's a $25 per month increase. But if you divide it by 8, it's $3 and some cents a year.
This is not a big deal.
The flip side of that, Mary, is it costs us more to pay him to put the ordinance together than to raise it.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
No.
So it really isn't, I mean, it isn't a large amount if you take it.
It isn't a big deal. It is not a big deal, and this is the only time we can do it.
And like I said, there's some cities out there paying their council $250, $350. The average seems to be, like I said, $150. And there,